My name is Douglas Becker. When I was 22, early in my studies of medicine, I had the good fortune to travel to the Himalayan mountains in India, where I met a master, a kind of mythical person known as Babaji. And the meeting of this great soul changed the course of my trip there in India as much as it changed the course of my life. Because of the way he appeared and disappeared, I completely changed my intended destination and instead found someone who thought they knew who he was and where he stayed. And so, after many hours of driving and hiking deep into the mountains, we found him. I had many magical moments with him. Some people would call miraculous, like when he took uncooked rice and turned it into hot, fresh bread in less than 30 seconds without an oven or kitchen. A couple days after we got there, there was a massive 6.3 earthquake, which shook everything and almost crumbled the building that I was staying in. The epicenter of this earthquake was the exact place I was going to be staying when Babaji came to me. And when it happened, hundreds of people suddenly lost their lives. I had several wonderful, peaceful days in the forest with him, near the cave where he lived. And that day after the earthquake, I was standing up on top of this hill appreciating this beautiful, magical valley. And Babaji came up to me, looked directly at me and went like this. And I looked back at him and I went like this. And he did this again, and I did this again, and again, until like an explosion, we both just started laughing and laughing and laughing. I was bent over, I was laughing so hard, and when I stood up and I looked over at him, his head was completely gone, and instead there was just a sphere of light. It was totally gone, his head. It was just light. Now, I've had some incredible, amazing experiences ever since I was a very young child. But this one was especially impacting. Another impactful experience I had, and perhaps the most magical experience I've ever had, was when I would sit on the lap of my great-grandmother and she would pray the rosary and cry. She was a Mexican woman, and her family had a huge estate in Mexico before the Mexican Revolution. They had everything. And after the revolution, they had nothing. And her life after that was totally focused on the spiritual. Those days that I had sitting on her lap with her crying and praising her rosary were perhaps the most special moments of my life. Today, when my clients come to see me, I'm always expecting special experiences to happen. I always listen intently to what they tell me and address exactly what their complaints are. For instance, I had a woman come to me and she asked me for help. She very reluctantly showed me her arm. And on the back of her arm were all these dime-sized growths, like tumors. And she told me that they had been growing and spreading for months, and she was very concerned. I asked her some very specific questions, and then I told her to take 3 tablespoons of olive oil in the morning as a remedy. She came back 3 days later and showed me, and all the tumors were completely gone. Another experience I had was with a medical doctor. He told me that his wife had an infectious laryngitis, and he wanted my help because he said she never did well with any of the medicines that he ever gave her, and that she was very sensitive to medicines. So I gave him some small pills from Tibet, and I told him the dosage is usually 6 pills, but to just give her 1. The next day he came back and he told me that she had been up all night feeling like she had been poisoned, but that her infection was completely gone and she was well now. And he was astounded, and so was she. I know that when someone comes to me for healing, any compassionate interactions I have with them help to unlock their own faith and confidence in their body's ability to heal itself. And I always encourage the understanding that the source of all healing is always with us and activated through our relationships and through the faith within. And I have seen how this allows the most graceful aging to happen and the most effective rejuvenation to occur. Through my studies, living in several continents and exploring many exotic cultures, I learned rare secrets of rejuvenation and healing. I learned that a lot of problems can arise when we lose faith and interrupt the body's natural ability to respond. I wrote about all of this in my first book, Principle of Harmony and Healing, Unity in the Mystery and History of Medicine. Thank you.